경제 정보 조정 힘이죠. 오늘 모놈 정보가 잡다. 나그당은 전도실만 돈바도 제잔라기 정도로 저러더니 정감서 저것도 지션을 이제 분조장라 소랑 공제 도반 보러 신지로
Now let us begin our class.
讲
We're going to study a text that's composed by Mipa Rinpoche. The title is Stream of Amrita that Cures All Ailments. Before the actual teaching, I would like to give you the oral transmission of a sadhana of unfettering bondage. In Larungar, the practitioners are required to chant the mantra of unfettering for 10,000 times within 4 to 5 days. Even if you can't finish 10,000 times within 4 to 5 days, you can try to finish it as soon as possible. This particular mantra had given to us by Phuntsuk Rinpoche back to 1998. Also, again, back in 2001. I believe many of you had received this particular mantra last year or the year before as well. I translated this particular sadhana a few years ago. In fact, many years ago, but I think the translation is not good enough, so I am retranslating it. The current group practice is that we're going to practice around noon for an hour or two. You can practice together as a group practice, or you can practice at home by listening to the radio. So we will practice today and tomorrow for a longer period of time, especially since it's the 15th day of the Tibetan lunar calendar. Why are we practicing this? Since this is a very profound and secretive practice. But I think it's good to give you the sadhana because, first of all, Phuntsuk Rinpoche had given this particular sadhana to us before. On top of that, we have a large sangha who are practicing this. Therefore, though it is a secretive practice, I have made this available. I didn't specifically request you to keep it secretive. What's the meaning of the sadhana of unfettering bondage? What does it mean by bondage? Well, there are all kinds of bondage. Bondage given by, for example, human beings, other people, or various kinds of afflictions, or the non-humans, or the evil spirits, and so on and so forth. Whatever kind of bondage you're experiencing that stops you from being free to practice, then you can practice this particular sadhana so you can gain freedom again. Otherwise, you'll be imprisoned by all kinds of bondages. But once practicing this sadhana, you will be freed from the imprisonment. Also, just like how the horse will no longer be reined by straps, they can be finally free. Therefore, this particular sadhana can unfetter all kinds of bondage. In the Dark Age, many people are bound by their afflictions. Some are by other people, some are by non-human, some are by all kinds of other, for example, spirits, or even different kinds of force or energies. Therefore, by practicing this particular sadhana is really important so that you will gain freedom. Many of our practitioners had practiced this before. The particular sadhana, you can uptake it as your daily practice, or you can practice whenever you can. You can practice it simply by chanting the mantra or practice it according to the sadhana. I think in the next 2 days I will provide you my new translation of the sadhana into Chinese. This sadhana is a sadhana that supplicates to the deity of Manjushri, a variation or a manifestation of Manjushri, that is Chujin Dorje, whose color is yellowish red. Even if you can't practice it according to sadhana, you can chant the mantra. Nowadays, since many of our life situations have changed, there are all kinds of obstacles. Considering all of those kinds of difficult situations that we have nowadays, it is quite important that you develop a sense of cherishing mind towards receiving the Dharma, even if it's just 1 or 2 classes. On top of that, we should develop a sense of bravery, courage, and be prepared for whatever that will come. During the classes of the stream of Amrita that cures all ailments, we do not have any after-class presentations. After this particular class, we will begin our classes on the Shrangama Sutra. And our after-class presentation, students can sit around the rims or the non-central area of the shrine hall. Currently, we can only have all of our senior students who are above 60 years of age to study in the shrine hall. They are the central focus. The central population that can receive the teachings. In the past, we don't really pay too much attention to the senior practitioners over here who are over 60 years of age. But recently, because this is a new regulation, so all the senior students nowadays can finally feel very proud of their age. From time to time, we pay lip service by saying that, oh, you're a senior practitioner, I should take care of you. You're quite aged, I should take care of you. But I don't think we actually do that. Therefore, this year, I think it's quite a good turning point that we start to take care of the senior practitioners here. For me, myself, this year is a turning point for me as well. And I think this particular regulation fits into the symbolic meaning of my turning point. Many people came here when they were still very young, but now, since they've already aged, they are well adorned with wrinkles. Whenever I visit any centers outside, I don't really feel very touched whenever I see young practitioners, but whenever I meet those senior practitioners, especially when they're really aged and when they're big and aged, they carry certain kinds of power and magnificence, and that could help me to develop a sense of faith. So I shouldn't elaborate too much on that. Let us get into this particular text on stream of Amrita that cures all ailments. Why did I decide to translate this and give the teaching on this? I believe the majority of you are still considered as healthy. But look at our world now.
这个生病呢，就是免不了的啊，就是每个人呢，
Illness is something that we cannot avoid.
在生死轮回当中的话呢，就是一定会是有生老病
Samsara
死，
of
这个是
birth, old
必然
age,
的现
sickness,
象
and death.
那这样一来
All
的
of
话
these
呢，
above
我们每个
stated
人呢，就是可能
if
曾经
phenomena
呢
cannot
也
be
是经
avoided.
常这个生病啊，然后就
As
现在呢
mundane
就是
beings,
暂时健康，但也
we
许
get
可能
ill.
就是也会
Even
就
if
是
we're
经常会
temporarily
生病
healthy,
有些是可能是处于亚
or
健康状
sometimes
态的
we're
不管怎么样的
suboptimal
话呢，
in
这个
terms of
病
our
呢，就是
health.
对每一个人来讲的话呢，就是肯定是需要面对的。
So
那这个
illness
生病的话呢，
is
就是
definitely
通过
something
什么样
that
的
we
方
have
式
to
来修
face
行呢？
eventually.
实际上是这里呢，就是门分
But
伯
as
爵他有一个
practitioners, what
治
should
病
we
就是他
do
这里的
in
治
order
病
to
两个
face
字
those
的话呢，
ailments?
因为我是为了大家易懂吧，就是其实这个生病的时候专为盗用的一种修行方法。
Over here,
它
the
并不是说
particular
是让我们
title
头
has
痛
been
就马上
translated
这
by
个
me
治头痛，然后这个
in the
胃
way
痛
that
就
it
马
will be
上治胃
easier
痛
for you
就
to
也不是这个
understand.
意思。
Therefore, I use the
它主要的
Chinese
这个
term
病的
that is
根源呢，就是
cures
实际上是心理
cures
的
all
疾病
ailments.
啊，就是新的疾病。那这个新的疾
However,
病呢，
what
就
it
是通
means
过
is
这个
to
修行的话呢，
transform
也可以这个治疗。
illness onto
如
the
果我
path
们的
of
新的病已
enlightenment.
经治疗上的话呢，那这个身体的病呢，就是很容易这个
It
就
is to
是很
say
容易
that
呢，
if
就
you
是可以
can
这
cure
个
the
就对治啊
illness of
很
your
容易
mind,
对
then
治。
you will
所以
be
这里
able
的
to
这个所谓的
cure the
治
illness
病
of
干
your
流呢，
physical
就是应
body.
该这次呢，就是我要想大家就是好好的这个
So I
学习
think
啊，
that
就是
is
这个
more
文字不
important.
多，我
Therefore,
们用
I
3
would
节课来
encourage
讲的
all
话
of
呢，
you
应
to
该是
study
足
it
应该是讲
with
的
great
讲的这个够的。
attentiveness.
但它
The
的
teaching is very
意思呢，
short.
就是
The
非
text
常
is
这个
really
殊胜
short, so
啊，
we
也非
should
常
use about
非常殊
3
胜。为
classes
什么说
to
殊胜
study
呢？
it,
因为
and
我
we
们
should
生
have
病的
plenty
时
of
候呢，
time.
大家都可能
Why
想
is
这
this
个治
teaching
疗，
so
但
profound?
治疗的话呢，
Whenever
很多
we
人的
have
这种方式
illness,
方法
we
不对
want
的
to
话
cure
呢，
it.
不但
However,
是
if
没有治
our
好，
method
甚
is
至
wrong,
可能
then
是这个
maybe
病
we
呢，
will
就是
get
反而加重
adverse
啊，
and
就是这
harmful
个
results.
可能
There
性
are
的。但
possibilities
依
like
靠这
such.
样的这个修行方
On
式
the
的
other
话呢，
hand,
当我们
if
生
we
病
were
的
to
时候
use
呢，
the
不但不
method of
痛苦，
practice
反而呢，就是可
during
能
the time
升起
of
这个欢
illness,
喜心。
a sense
如
of
果这
joy
样对
would
待的
naturally
话呢，
arise.
那就是我们的
If
这
your
个病
mind
呢，
is
就是很
joyful,
快的
very
时间当中
quickly
也是
your
会
illness
痊愈。
will
即
get better,
即便
will
是不
it
能
will
痊愈的
heal
话呢，
very
就是那
soon.
个病呢，就是不会
Even
就是
if
加重，也不会对你身
you
心呢
won't
就是
get
有极
well
大的这
very
种
soon.
冲击和危害。就所以
Illness
这种
doesn't
方式呢，
create
应该是这
detrimental
个很重
consequences
要
to
的
you
啊，就是
anymore.
很
Your
很重要
mind
的。
would
那我们
always and
这个每
constantly
个人
abide
呢，
in
就
sense
是
of joy.
生病的时候是什么样的方式呢？
Therefore, whenever you
来
get
对
ill,
对
I
治呢？
think you
当然
should
是一方
contemplate
面
to
就是我
yourself
们要
what kind
这
of
个看
method
中
you're
医
using
啊，就是看
to
西医、看藏医，或
cure
者
your
说是有
illness.
其他的任何
Of
的医
course,
疗
I'm
方
not
式的
saying
话
that you
呢，
shouldn't see
这个
any
是也必
doctors.
须
You
要
can
的。
seek all
但
kinds of
最
help
根本
that
的
you
是需
need,
要什么
let
呢？
it be
是用
Western
心
medicine
态
or
上的
Chinese
一种
traditional
调整
medicine
啊，
or
就
the
是心
Tibetan
态上的一
traditional
种调
medicine.
整。如果
But
心态
other
上
than
调整的
that,
话
we
呢，
have to
那这个
learn to
病
tame
呢，
our
就
mind
是
as well.
即便是非常严重，但是对
If
你
you
的
can
整个
tame
这
your
个
mind,
这种人生呢，这样的话呢，就是
then
不会
even
有
if you
很大
get
的这种
severe
损危害
illness,
啊，就是有
it's
很
not
大
going
的
to
这种危害。
create
为什么这么
a
讲呢？
great deal of
因为我们
negative
的这个
impact
心
on your
如果就
life.
是让转为道用，
If
心
you
把
can
这个
turn
病呢，就是转为
the
道用的话
mind
呢，
onto
其
the
实
path of
心很坚
enlightenment,
强，心很
if you
坚强的
can
话呢，
develop
那肉体上的这
a
个病
kind
呢，
of
实际上呢，
courageous
对你
mind
应该说是有
when facing such
不会有那么
adversity,
大的这个损害。
then
对
whatever kinds
那
of
我们用心
sickness
是什么样
that
的
you
这个
have
调整呢？
is not going
这个调
to
整呢，就是
be
没有这个
detrimental
佛
to
法的
you.
话呢，就是恐怕是这个没办法调整啊。当然，就
Nowadays,
现在
we
这
have
个
all
市场
kinds of
上呢，就是
knowledges
虽然有各种各
available
样的养生学
on the
啊、
market.
健康
For
学啊，
example,
就
the
是
knowledge
关于
of
这个
nutrition,
治疗
the
就是各种
knowledge
疾病
of
的这种
being
这个说法呢，
healthy,
就是
all
非常
kinds
多
of
这些也
theories,
是
all
也
kinds
某
of
种意义上是
knowledge
我们
that's
不
out
否
there.
认的。但是
we're not saying no to all of them, but I'm simply stating that the Dharma could help you to transform all kinds of suffering onto the path of enlightenment. I'm sure many of you have a deep experience of that. Whatever kinds of detrimental situations you're in, the Dharma is able to help you. For example, I remember the great earthquake in Yushu province, in Yushu region, where many people died. In order to help the survived, many of the psychotherapists were were recruited from all different places in China to Yushu area. But then they realized that people over there, they don't really need that because they were Buddhist practitioners. Mainly Tibetans were living there. As you probably know that region, the infrastructure, the weather, the resources, and so on and so forth are not that abundant around that region. If people were not spiritual, if they don't have any spiritual strength, then after such detrimental disaster, the consequences could be quite dire. However, people living in that region, because they've learned how to adjust their mind, to tame their mind since a very young age, because they believe in the result of cause and effect. Because they believe that cause and effect is true, because they believe that the reason that they suffer from such a great earthquake is because they must have done something in the past. For the same reason, whenever you are facing any kinds of disease, any kinds of sickness, if you were to be diagnosed with AIDS, with COVID, with cancer, whatever kinds of diagnosis you receive from the hospital, at that time, the ordinary people who had never went through the spiritual training, they would not be able to handle that consequences. They would not be able to handle that announcement for such bad news. But for people who went through the spiritual training, who understand and believe in cause and effect, they would be able to understand that the result of illness is no other than the maturation of the past causes, let it be harming the other sentient beings in this life or the past lives, or any other kinds of causes that could lead to this result. Therefore, they would be able to gladly face whatever result there is. Of course, I understand that nobody really wants to get ill. Nobody wants to feel uncomfortable. However, it is during such times, it is the time for your spiritual practice to come into your life. It is a test for you to examine your spiritual practice. At that time, for example, practices that you've received from Acharya, from your teachers, you can practice the Tonglen, the taking and sending, or any other kinds of practices that you've received. As a practitioner, as a genuine practitioner, you would be able to transform whatever situations that you're facing into the path of enlightenment. You would be able to transform whatever situation that you're facing for the benefit of your spiritual practice. Whatever kinds of situation can be a favorable condition to you. It is somewhat similar to poison. In fact, nobody wants to take poison, but poison can be transformed into something that is drinkable, that is beneficial if there are people or other materials that could transform this poison. Similarly, suffering is just like illness. Nobody really wants suffering. Nobody wants suffering at all. But just as what we studied last year, during our classes on transforming happiness and suffering onto the path of enlightenment, I believe many of you who listened to that class felt that it was really beneficial. So I encourage all of you to study that text again and again so that it will become part of you. You will take that teaching into your heart. Only listening to it once is not enough at all. For this particular text, composed by Mipa Rinpoche, is something that you should study it again and again as well. Because when you get ill, this is the Amrita that would cure your illness. When I first started translating this particular text, I didn't feel that it was profound to that extent, so to speak. However, I remember that back in February, when I started translating, the more I got into the translation and got into this text, the more I developed faith. And back in February, when I was translating it, I genuinely hoped that I would get ill so that I can get the opportunity to practice. After my aspiration, I indeed got ill. I couldn't sleep well or eat well. There's that kind of pain or unease. However, I think my mind at that time was definitely different than people who never practice or know this kind of teaching. This particular teaching is rather short. We will finish it within 3 classes, but it is really profound because it inherits 3 main points. The first point is that illness is virtuous. It has merit. The second class, we will talk about how we should view illness as your guru. Whenever you see your guru, you would ask your guru to give you teachings, to give you spiritual guidance. That's why lots of people would like to run around and to follow their teachers everywhere. They want to follow the teacher is not because they are attracted by the physical body of the teacher, rather it is because the teacher has wisdom in their mind stream and they will be able to give teachings to the fellow students. So similar to a good teacher, illness can also give you teachings on the spiritual path. And then the third point that we will cover on the third day is that we will talk about how illness is a good tool for you to practice the 6 paramitas. Now, knowing that illness is virtuous is just like a guru, and it could be a good path and tool for you to practice the 6 paramitas, then why wouldn't you be joyous when you're ill? Therefore, after studying this particular text, you will no longer be upset and quite depressed whenever you get ill. You would rather be very joyous. Why is illness virtuous? People would think, why would you say that? How could illness be virtuous? Illness is something that destroys me, or illness is something that harms me. But I think we should understand everything that happens in our world in 2 folds. Everything has the 2 aspects, and we have to look at it as a whole. As a practitioner, however, we should definitely look at the part that would benefit us from a spiritual point of view. When we're healthy, we probably won't be able to practice as well as when we are ill. Or you probably wouldn't have even tread onto the path of enlightenment if you never got ill. I know that kind of practitioners. I know many practitioners are like that. The reason they stepped onto the spiritual path is because they got ill. That's how adversity can be transformed onto the path of enlightenment. Therefore, that aspect is considered as the meritorious aspect or virtuous aspect of illness. For people with wisdom, they would be able to recognize the true face of any adversity. It could be facing a foe, Of course, nobody likes to have enemies standing in front of them. But if you were to see your enemy standing right in front of you and practice the 6 paramitas or practice the impermanence and viewing that the friends and foes are impermanent in this world as well. Now, if you remember the story of Gyalongma Palmo, she was infected with leper, and by relying on her illness and practice with her illness, she attained enlightenment. Illness itself doesn't have any virtue. For people without any spiritual practice, without any understanding, then illness itself is not virtuous. However, if you can practice upon it, if you can practice with it as a stepping stone on the path of enlightenment, it is virtuous. Today we are studying this particular text with the title called Stream of Amrita, or Stream of Nectar that cures all disease. Everyone wants to cure their illness. Therefore, I picked this particular word cure because it's easy to understand. And the stream of Amrita, Amrita is something that is used by the celestial beings. It can cure all kinds of illness. It's like the elixir. For example, when the celestial beings are in battles, even if they are beheaded, by using the nectar, their illness or their physical harm can be cured. Another particular type of Amrita is that the water that can be blessed by mantras. For example, you can practice the mantra of unfettering for 7 times and then blow air to the water, and then you can drink that water. I know Lama Achu used to drink the Amrita water in the morning as the first thing that they would do in the morning. You can either drink the water that's been blessed by the Sangha, by the Guru, or by chanting the mantra and then blow air to it, or you can put the Amrita pills into the water and then drink it. People nowadays, I think you probably don't know how to use the Amrita pills. However, it's better to mix the Amrita into water or take it. That would be very helpful for your illness. Even in a worldly sense, this is something that we usually take. In Tibet, the practitioners usually would put lots of Amrita pills into their little locket. And during emergency situations, right away, they'll take out their Amritas and start to take it in or mix it in the water and then drink it. It seems simple, but within that little pill, there are lots of different powers and different energy. I believe we also talked about the special powers of the Vajra knot. When Golok was in battle with Dege, someone wearing that Vajra knot was untouched throughout that battle. So it's kind of a protecting object or an object that would provide the protection to you. Similarly, Amrita water or Amrita itself can also provide such kind of protection. Other sacred objects, such as even the sweat from a great master, such as Mipa Rinpoche, there was the story where his sweat cured the illness of someone who was gravely sick. In mainland China, there is another monk whose name is Jigong. It is said that when someone who is ill drank the bath water of monk Jigong, they were cured right away. So there are all kinds of miraculous things like that. I believe back in 2002, I translated the biography of Mipa Rinpoche composed by Phuntsok Rinpoche. There are lots of miraculous stories about Mipa Rinpoche, especially when there were different descriptions about his enlightened activities and so on. Things that I think ordinary people won't be able to believe. Within that biography, it is stated that Mipa Rinpoche was very sophisticated in even the medical knowledge, and his teaching of Tibetan traditional medicine is still studied till now. Therefore, from the medical point of view or from the spiritual point of view, this particular teaching is just like a stream of nectar, a stream of Amrita, where after you take this Amrita, your illness will be dispelled. So Mipa Rinpoche pointed out that his pith instructions, just like Amrita, the water that you take in and then you will be able to get your illness cured. For those of you who study this particular teaching, all of your illness will be cured in such a way. We can see that nowadays we have lots of diseases around the world. Let's look at the world now. The war between Russia and Ukraine, it's just like apocalypse is approaching. The pricing for food as well as for gas has peaked. All kinds of disease, such as COVID, that's been torturing human beings for the past 2 years. We have 7 billion of people on this earth. The recent number is that about 500 million people have already infected by COVID. That means 5 out of 70 people. On top of that, 6 million people have died because of COVID. It is not to say that the nectar will be able to cure your illness right away, but at least once you get ill, you won't be so anxious and so fearful. Whenever you get ill, whatever kinds of illness, after studying this text, I think your mindset will be completely changed. You will be able to know how to work with it, and you won't be able to feel fear and anxiety. I myself, I've been battling with all kinds of illness throughout my life. So I've been using those as opportunities to tame my mind. I don't want to say that I've been practicing all the time, but I definitely took advantage of those opportunities to tame my mind. So I'm really grateful to all the illness, without which I won't be able to have any opportunity to practice those teachings. Also, I think illness are not that scary if we have the courage to face them. Because illness itself, though it appears to be completely unwanted, unpleasant, and even horrifying experience, however, if you can develop a holistic point of view to look at illness, then your reaction will be completely different than the ordinary beings. Because ordinary people, when they get ill, they would be sad and they would have fear, and then they would be anxious and even depressed. And then the more they prone to lead their mind to that negativity, the worse the illness would be piled on. However, as a practitioner, if we can look at illness from a holistic point of view, if we can see the other side of illness that can be a stepping stone onto our path of enlightenment, then we will be able to be much more calm. Just as the experienced practitioners, they would see illness as the maturation of the past karma. Unlike the non-practitioners, they would think that, why me? Why did I get ill? why everyone else is healthy but I am ill. My bad luck. I'm so unfortunate. I've been doing so many good things, but look at me, I'm ill. There are, of course, the not so good or not so experienced practitioners. They will forget about all the teachings at the time of, during the time they are ill. They would no longer believe in cause and effect. They no longer believe in karma. They no longer believe in virtuous actions anymore. But as the experienced practitioners or as practitioners who study this particular text and take it into their heart, then they know that it is the time for them to practice good deeds and to practice all kinds of purifying or confession practices. They also would know that it is because of the karma is real, the past causes now have come to a maturation. And then they can make aspiration to attain enlightenment. Then illness becomes meaningful. Sometimes I think to myself that back in 2002, when I got really ill, I decided to translate the extensive biography of Shakyamuni Buddha because I was preparing for my death. And sometimes I think to myself, if I were not ill at that time, I probably wouldn't be able to translate the whole extensive biography of Shakyamuni Buddha. I'm not boasting on how great of a practitioner I am. I'm simply stating that illness has its virtues if we know how to use it. That being said, I'm not saying that, oh, please let me get ill, and then right away when you get illness, you feel that, oh, no, I don't want to get ill. I'm not saying that you have to invite illness in such an earnest aspiration. But I'm saying that now you're healthy, that's wonderful, engage in practice. But be prepared when you get ill, when you get certain kinds of sickness, maybe your ears or eyes, or you won't be able to move. All kinds of illness may come, but you need to prepare yourself before they come. We have to prepare for all kinds of circumstances and possibilities, just as I know someone from my hometown who couldn't walk because of their spine problem, and now after operation, he unfortunately I don't think he can walk anymore. So we should prepare for all kinds of things that may happen. We have to be prepared mentally. But after knowing that illness has its virtue, then we are well prepared for the future. After today's class, if you can turn your mind to think that, oh, illness is also good, it's also virtuous. Even if I get ill, even if I have stomach ache or a headache or any kind of illness, other people can congratulate you and saying that, oh, that's great, you have opportunity to practice. If you get COVID, cancer, any infectious illness, you can congratulate yourself by saying that, oh, that's great. Wow, I haven't started the actual text yet. So let me begin. Now let us begin our actual class on stream of Amrita that cures all disease. This is composed by Mipo Rinpoche. First is the homage line. Pay homage to the Guru, King of Medicine Tathagata. Before composing any text, usually the author would pay homage to the deity or the Guru. Usually we would chant the Medicine Buddha's mantra or chant the Medicine Buddha's sutra and prostrate to the Medicine Buddha. I think medicine Buddha should be placed in hospitals as well. Chanting the mantra when ill is also really important. Because of his unusual aspiration of the past lifetimes, then by the power of aspiration and the power of chanting the mantra of the King of Medicine Buddha, illness can be dispelled. It would be helpful to both the spiritual or physical health. As I said the other day, the Tibetan, the Chinese traditional medicine, as well as the Western medicine, any people working in those fields, if you have the ability to serve the Sangha, it would be really meritorious. During the time of Shakyamuni Buddha, he himself often served the others with the sickness. So I hope people with this kind of profession and talent, then you should try your best to serve the Sangha in such a way with your professional knowledge. I think nowadays we're getting better. We use all kinds of methods, such as the massage and physiotherapy, using the Chinese traditional medicine. During COVID, many people also said that the traditional Chinese medicine really helped. So I hope by studying this text, many of our Sangha members who are well versed in medicine, you should definitely try your best to serve the Sangha. That would be very meritorious. And then the next verse says that the most supreme in eradicating suffering, I pay homage to the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas. So it means that the most supreme in eradicating suffering in this world are the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Therefore, I pay homage to them. Let it be physical illness or mental illness or any kinds of suffering, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are really swift and helpful in eradicating their suffering. I know lots of people who were ill before, and then they cured their illness by chanting the mantra or the sutra or doing all kinds of meritorious deeds. There are people like that. Therefore, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they are the only ones in this world that could help the sentient beings to cure all of their illness to the absolute, in the absolute sense. To pacify and cure all the illness of the sentient beings who are struggling in the quagmire of suffering. Therefore, Mipham Rinpoche composed this text that is the stream of nectar that is filled with wisdom. This particular text is definitely filled with lots of piece instructions. Longchenpa, in the Treasury of Wish Fulfilling, he also included many practices in the actual practice instructions on how to cure all kinds of illness, including the instructions on exercise and different various aspects of curing illness. So, yes, supplication and paying homage and mantras are important. However, that is not enough. You also have to do other things, such as taking pills and your medicine and your exercise, your lifestyle, and so on and so forth. The text over here says that when a practitioner undergoes torment caused by illness, he shall train the mind and practice by relying upon illness in the following ways in order to purify obstacles, accumulate merit, and forever part from the mud of illness. When we look at ourselves, we don't have such kind of ability and strength to practice in this way. However, this is the possibility that we could practice by relying upon illness. Not only we could practice by relying on illness, we can follow the ways that's stated below, such as purify the obstacles that's being accumulated for lifetimes, and we can accumulate all kinds of merit. Also, all of these can help us to forever part from the mud of illness and samsara. As practitioners, after receiving such profound teachings, if you can practice it, we should be very ashamed of ourselves. The teaching seems very easy. If you were to just tell yourself again and again, oh, illness is good, illness is good, it doesn't help at all. So you have to embody the teaching. Then illness can be transformed onto the path of enlightenment. If you only talk the talk but not walk the walk, then everyone can talk the talk. The majority of ordinary beings are mostly at that level. They can talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Therefore, they cannot get into that deep understanding of this practice. The Dharma is genuine and it is true. This teaching is true. It does not need any logic, it does not need any inference to come to the conclusion that this is correct. For example, the truth of birth, old age, sickness, and death, are those real? Are those true? Are those 8 kinds of sufferings true? Are those real? We don't need any inference or logic to see and to know that they're real and they're true. Whenever we talk about impermanence, the impermanence of the animate and the inanimate world, the impermanence of the seasons, are they real? Are they true? Yes, they're true as well. Unlike the Western logic where they talk again and again from this point and from that point, and everything has to go through very complex inference. The Buddha taught the simple and straightforward truth. We don't even need to go through all the inference of the inner, outer, the sacred obstacles, or all kinds of the other inferences whatsoever they may be. Buddhism pointed out all kinds of sufferings. They're simply the state of being. So, suffering, without recognizing the nature of it, then they could bring about all kinds of harm and pain into our life. Let it be our work or our family life and so on and so forth. And sometimes we don't even want to move when we're ill. But if we can use this illness onto our path of enlightenment, in fact, it could bring us great merit, because without such illness, you probably would never think about practice. So if you really want to accumulate merit, if you really want to purify and pacify your obscurations, then you should practice diligently. Illness is the gate of practice that purifies obstacles. That's the first thing that we're going to cover. And then the second thing we're going to cover is that we should know that illness is no other than our guru. Whenever you get ill, you should think, oh, here is my guru. And then thirdly, you should know that illness is the companion on practice. Therefore, one should engage in the practice of the 6 paramitas. These are the 3 aspects we're going to study in this particular text. So, illness is meritorious, illness is no other than the guru, and illness is the companion on the practice of 6 paramitas. So let's look at the first one. In samsara, there are various vast sufferings. Within samsara, in the 6 realms, it is fused with all kinds of sufferings. I think majority of you who are living here in Larongar and do not really care to listen to news, you probably have no idea of all kinds of suffering that's happening in the world right now. But if you do pay some attention to the news, you probably would generate a sense of compassion and empathy to people who are suffering from all kinds of suffering nowadays. Stated in the 400 verses of Madhyamika, it says that all sentient beings look for happiness, but happiness is indeed very difficult to gain. Therefore, the beings in this world are followed and flooded by all kinds of sufferings, one after another. Constantly torture the sentient beings living in this world. Also stated in the Lotus Sutra, it says that the 3 realms has no place that is completely at ease. It is just like a house on fire that is filled with all kinds of sufferings. It is indeed horrid. I'm not sure if you've ever visited a hospital. Whenever you go to hospital, it seems like the whole world is ill. Everyone has some kind of sickness. If you go to the particular department, it seems that everyone has that particular type of sickness. Involuntarily took birth in this samsara due to our karma. We don't contemplate the suffering when there are temporary happiness. The happiness are so temporary, and we are very indulged in those. Let it be beauty or social status or wealth or any kinds of temporary happiness. Whenever we have those kinds of temporary experiences of happiness, that stops us from thinking and contemplate about suffering or the downfalls of samsara. When we're indulged in those happy experiences, we ourselves can practice to benefit ourselves. Rather, we would indulge in laziness and indolence. At such times, suffering of illness can dispel mistakes such as laziness and arrogance. Whenever you're ill, you won't have those indolence or illness anymore, or arrogance anymore. When people get ill, sometimes they're very encouraged to practice more diligently. For example, when people get to know that they got cancer and they only have 3 months to live, or when they get COVID, maybe very severe COVID, then the arrogant or the indolent kind of people, they would they will rethink about their life and the meaning of life, and then they would engage in diligent practice. So whenever we view illness, we should see illness in such a way. So illness has such a function that could lead us to contemplate about the truth of life. Many people, especially the ones who had never practiced on the spiritual path or the Dharma in general, They don't know what impermanence is. They probably had never even contemplated upon impermanence. Whenever they get ill, they would realize what's really important. For example, they would know that, oh, when I'm ill, I finally realize that wealth really doesn't matter that much anymore. So illness can help one to see through all kinds of veils in life and see the truth of life. Therefore, I think illness can be very helpful to the practitioners because illness can help us to engage in practice. But for non-practitioners, illness wouldn't bring them any benefits. According to Bodhisattva Charyavatara, it says that harm and suffering has various merits because it could dispel arrogance and would help the practitioner to generate a sense of renunciation. This is very similar to turning suffering and happiness onto the path of enlightenment, as well as the 37 practices of Bodhisattva. This year, I think we should engage a lot of effort and time in studying 37 stanzas. Over here, it says that the merit of illness is that it could help the practitioners to give rise to the mind of renunciation and dispel all kinds of arrogance. It is just like when one is ill, then and one has to go through an operation. Sometimes we also need that kind of operation or surgery for our spiritual practice as well. A surgery and an operation may seem to be very forceful. However, such kind of forceful method can bring us great merit as well, or great benefit as well. According to Bodhisattva Charyavatara, it says that without harm, without suffering, one would not generate the mind of renunciation. Without suffering, we don't generate the sense of renunciation from samsara. Whenever we get ill and whenever we suffer, then we generate the mind of renunciation. So over here it says that by relying on suffering, then we would generate the mind of renunciation from samsara. I think for the majority of us, what's really important is to generate the mind of renunciation. According to the three principal aspects of the path, it also states that the most important aspect is to generate the mind of renunciation. Therefore, over here, by relying on illness, if we can generate the mind of renunciation and wanting to part from samsara, and wanting to tread on the path of enlightenment with great bravery, in this sense, illness is really meaningful. According to the Contemplation of Mind Sutra, it says that the body harbors all kinds of suffering. However, if we can practice diligently upon renunciation, then attaining enlightenment is possible. Therefore, we can see that illness can help us to generate that renunciation. This is quite important because without illness, many of you probably could never generate the mind of renunciation at all. I know many of our fellow practitioners who generated renunciation because they suffered from some grave illness or they went through some surgery or operations. But then when we look back, we will see that how illness really helped us to tread onto this path. So, though that illness happens to us unwillingly. However, from another aspect, it definitely helps us to tread on the path of enlightenment. After a grave illness, you would be able to see through the veils of life more clearly. You would be able to see that the wealth and fame and all of those things in life are really nothing substantial. Therefore, you would turn your mind onto the path of enlightenment, and eventually will be able to attain liberation. So, through illness and the guidance of a genuine teacher, a sense of genuine renunciation can be generated. And then, illness is truly meaningful. Let's finish this part today. There's a small passage here.
尤其是按照
Especially
很多
according
这
to
个经
many
藏当中呢
sutras
再三地
and
宣说，这个释迦牟尼佛这个
various
具证说破插
Tripitakas,
度的话呢，实
it
际
is
上是
stated
亲
again
近
and
是一个
again
头头呢，
that
也
in the
能
world
亲
of
近这无间地
Shakyamuni
狱的
Buddha,
痛苦，
which
啊
is
就是我们
the
这个
Saha world
很
that
多
is
经典
full
当
of
中
all
也是这样
kinds
讲
of
的。释
disputes.
迦牟尼佛呢，就是他前面的
Shakyamuni
发
Buddha,
愿，就是他就很多这个
because of his
发心者呢，就是
aspiration,
他们就选那个清净的插度。释迦牟尼佛的话
this
呢，就是他
world
把这
is
个
a Saha
选
world,
出
this
一个这个
imperfect
特别就
world.
是这
It
种
is
这
an
个
impure world,
不清净
unlike
的
many
这个爱
other
争论的这么一
Buddhas.
个娑婆世
They
界。
made the
那这个娑婆世
aspiration
界
to
呢，一
create a
方面讲是
pure,
这个
a
很
pure
难受，就
land.
是这个是
But
很难忍的，就
Shakyamuni
是一个
Buddha's
一个
world
世界，
is
就
an
是大家
impure
都是
land.
在这里很痛
In
苦
this
的
land,
啊，就是
there
很
are
痛
all
苦的。
kinds of
我们这个
sufferings.
什么这个夏天的话，那热得很
The
痛苦的，
suffering
然
of
后冬
heat
天
in
的话，那冷得
summer,
很痛苦的，
of
然后
cold
一会
in
儿头痛
winter,
啊，一会儿这个
of
有高原
headache,
反应啊，路也
of
是不好啊，然后
high
现在还
altitude
算是好的。
sickness,
我们
of
像
bad
拉荣
road,
刚开始来的时候，
all
确
kinds
实
of
是
sufferings.
各方面的
Nowadays, I
条
think
件都也不
Larongar
是很好
has
的，
already
那个时候
become
是
so much
应该
better
娑
in
婆世
terms
界
of
当中的娑婆世
infrastructures.
界，就是那
I
现
think
在
in
的
the
话呢，就
past,
是比较
Larongar
也
can
是
be
可以
considered
的，
as
但
the
蒙多利
Saha
斯呢也
worlds
最
of
近
the
今天
the
天气
Saha
热了，
world
今
of
天
the
天气
Saha
热了，
worlds.
今天头痛，今天这个交通
But
就
in
是一
this
会儿
world,
这
we
个
can
吹
see
风，一会儿
people
这
suffer
个什
from
么
all
各
kinds
种
of
各样的，还有这个
illness,
人
such
非
as
人有
headache,
恐
such
惧啊，
as
就是有老鼠啊，有猫啊，
foot
有
ache,
鹅
such
啊，有
as
狼啊，有
fear,
有
such
什么老
as
虎啊，等等等，就
the
是有各种梦宿，有各种这个各种各样的危险呢。就这样的
obstacles
话呢，就是
because
这
of
个娑婆世界是总体上来讲的
the
话，那就是比其他差度
tigers,
还
the
是不好
wolves,
的。像
and
极
so
乐
on
世
and
界
so
啊，就
forth.
是
There are so
相
many
信差度
things
的话多快
that
乐，
could
就是非常这个
create
快乐
suffering.
的、舒服的、清净的。但是呢，这
But
里也有
in
个
Pure
好处，
Lands
清净好处是什么呢？
of
这里
the
是
other
这个业力
Buddhas,
之地啊，就是业力之地。仅仅
there
是
is
头
no
痛啊，
such
就是我就
imperfections, and
经
there
常
is
这个
no
头
such
痛的话
sufferings at
呢，那
all.
这个头痛呢，你这个就经常好好的观想。
However,
然后
when you look
经
at
常
those
这样观想的
sufferings,
话呢，那
when you
本来
look
是
at
你这个
the
人是
other
在无间地
aspect
狱
of
里面感
suffering,
受痛苦的。
you would be
但是
able
呢，
to see
因为
that
这个
just by
头痛
having
的
a
原因
mere
的话呢，
headache.
就是那么这个这种
Such
这
kind
个
of
巨大的地狱的痛苦的话
suffering
呢，依
can
靠这样的一个
purify
简单的这种痛
the
苦呢，
karma
也可以
of
尽数啊，就是
suffering
生死为
in
梵
hell
天。
realm.
说文经当中也是
According
说
to
啊，
the
这个
Sutra
生
of the
死
questions
生
of
死度菩萨
Brahma
不应坏
Vishesastin,
有舍有
it
恶
says
道
that
舍有
the
恶道之
bodhisattvas
不
who
同
are
则
born
难
in
处
this
得得
land
处。就是说
shouldn't
是
be
生在这
worried
个就
or
是娑婆世
have
界的
any
菩萨的
kinds
话
of
呢，就是不应
suffering
该就
or
是伤心的。
sadness.
为什么呢？因
Why
为
is that?
在
It is
这里呢，就
because
是其实
in
这个
this
通过一个
Saha
头
world,
痛的话呢，就是能断
even
生到
by
恶道的
simply
这种
having a
罪业
little
呢，
bit
就
of
是
a
可以
headache
清除。
can
这样的话，
purify the
我们这个
negative
儒心论
deeds
当中
that
也有类似的教证。
could have lead one
所以这里
into
呢，
the
就是一
lower
方面是我们
realms.
确实是转生到这里是不太好的，
So
但另一方
from
面
one
的话呢，
aspect, of
这里
course,
就是
it's not
转生到这个
that
世界
great
是很好
that
的。
we're
还有
living
蒙特仁波切
in this
说，
world,
因为
that
这
we're
个
reborn into
佛陀
this
的这
world.
种发心里啊，
However, from a
虽然
different
这个世界
aspect,
呢就是
by
是清
the
净的，就是
aspiration
周
of
格
the
的啊，
Buddha,
就是无
we
着的，
would be
这
able
这
to
样的差
purify
度是痛苦
all
也是非
kinds
常的
of
这个剧烈。
potential
跟其他地方比较
negative
起来的话呢，有时候我们
fruitions
生嗔恨
by
心也是
simply
很痛
suffering
苦的，
from
有时候是这个睡
minor
不着也是
sufferings.
很痛苦的，有
We
时
have
候
all
是
kinds of
吃的
suffering.
什么
Sometimes we
吃
couldn't fall
没有吃到
asleep.
饭，饿
Sometimes
的
we
也是
get
很痛苦。
suffering
我
of
们是来人
hunger,
痛苦
of thirst,
痛
and
感
so
嘛，
on
就
and
是一
so
个很
forth.
不痛苦的样子。
But when I
哇，
look
吃的
around,
很好
I
了，
see that
你
all
要
of
多
you
活动啊，不然的
look
话
very
越
good.
来越胖了，不行。
It seems that you don't have any suffering at all. But make sure after you're eating a lot, you need to exercise, otherwise you gain weight.
但是呢，就是具有这个
Over here, it
心怀
says that
诚
the
福之大心力的
bodhisattvas
诸
who
位菩
have
萨
the
呢，
great
专
aspiration
心
to
一次。
attain
意思是
Buddhahood
什么
very
呢？虽
quickly,
然我们这个
they
佛
would
陀的
take
发心，
rebirth
佛陀因
over
为当时
here
接触了这么不清净的刹土嘛，所以这个原因呢，就是这个地方就
because
是有不清
the
净，
Buddha,
有这
because
个
of
脏
his
乱差，有这个
aspiration,
痛苦距离，就有好多好多的这个不好的这种这个特点。
this particular world is an impure land. But bodhisattvas, because they want to attain enlightenment as quickly as possible, therefore they would take rebirth specifically in this impure land so that they can attain enlightenment quickly. Just like how people would first work in difficult areas first, and then later they can return to get a promotion and then eventually be able to get a higher position. we see that people nowadays, they volunteer themselves to difficult areas or areas with harsh situations first, and then eventually they'll be able to gain more experience and then get higher positions after returning. So similarly, the bodhisattvas, in order to fulfill their merits and to be able to attain Buddhahood quickly, they specifically take rebirth in this impure land. The great bodhisattvas facing all kinds of calamities and disasters, they specifically wanting to choose this area for that reason. I'm sure we encounter all kinds of things, especially during the pandemic. For the practitioners, I heard that many of our practitioners really enjoyed staying indoor during the pandemic lockdowns. Of course, you do need some of the necessities of living, such as food and so on and so forth. But other than that, many people really enjoyed this opportunity to finally engage in their practice and to do a retreat, unlike the ordinary beings that they feel very much trapped. So the great bodhisattvas, after taking rebirth over here, they would be able to quickly fulfill the accumulation of the merit in order to gain great power. Also would be able to gain great power of maturing the sentient beings and gain the great power so that they can build their Pure Lands. The bodhisattvas, they have to specifically take rebirth in this impure land, but we ourselves, we don't even need to do that. We are already born here. We are the indigenous Saha world beings. The bodhisattvas, they specifically want to immigrate to this land to be able to fulfill their aspiration. But look at us. We're so afraid of getting ill. We're so afraid of facing the harsh situations. So after studying this, we should be able to see that, well, with this illness, we can definitely purify all kinds of illness from the past. Therefore, illness is not that bad. If you remember when we studied Vimalakirti Sutra, many disciples of the Buddha went to see him and asked how he is in his illness. And Vimalakirti answered the questions in such a skillful way by saying that, because the sentient beings are ill, therefore I am ill. My illness is out of great compassion. So whenever we get ill, we should also contemplate in such a way. If people were to ask you, well, how is your illness? Are you feeling better? Then that's a good opportunity for you to give them a teaching, to give them some pith instruction that you can give when you're ill. According to the question of Brahma Vishesa Sentine, it says that in this Saha world that is full of all kinds of afflictions, if one can bear the unbearable and have the capacity to give teachings of such to the others, this is the most supreme merit. I understand everyone has to go through lots of difficulties in this world. You have to cook for yourself, and you have to endure all kinds of difficulties. On one hand, yes, it takes lots of effort, and there are lots of hardship that we have to go through. But I'm sure it's definitely twofold. The good and the bad, they're twofold. We can't really just see it from one extreme, but not the other. To the worldly beings, they only see it one-sidedly. They only see one aspect of it. For example, the wealthy people, from the worldly beings' point of view, it's wonderful. They have money, they can get everything. However, from the other point of view, they're arrogant. So there's always a twofold aspect to one situation. That is why the bodhisattvas specifically pick this impure world to take rebirth, to practice. That is why it says that the bodhisattvas, they would also manifest themselves as being ill. Lots of great masters, they also appear to be ill as well, such as Mipa Rinpoche. In the biography, he told his disciples, saying that I am a bodhisattva, I am here to benefit sentient beings. However, because of my physical body as well as the merit of the sentient beings, I am not able to benefit sentient beings anymore at this time. Some of the great masters of the past, they specifically would appear to be ill so that the sentient beings would learn lesson from them. And then over here it states that therefore by relying on our illness, it would definitely be able to purify all kinds of illness that's been accumulated for past lifetimes. For that reason, we should be joyous. By simply suffering from some minor illness, it could pacify a lot of grave negative deeds that we've accumulated, such as having a headache would be able to pacify the negative deeds that could lead us to the maturation of grave negative duration. When I had the surgeries, let it be the big surgery or a small surgery, I would chant mantras at the beginning and then practice. And then throughout, because I am not conscious, but at the end of it, I would practice the dedication of merit when I slowly gain my conscious back. When I started to wake up, unlike the mundane beings who would ask, well, why me? Why do I have to take surgery? Why everyone else is healthy? But we should practice in such a way, as practitioners, we should practice in such a way that I am offering my body to the other sentient beings, the Rakshas who really want to take my body, then go ahead, take it. We should practice it in this way. Lots of the non-humans, the Rakshas, they really want to have your body and then just offer it. In this way, we would be able to loosen our attachments and we would be able to purify our obstacles and we would be able to accumulate myriads of merits as well. So for the negative karmas that we've been accumulating for past lifetimes can get purified through our illness. Therefore, we should generate the mind of joy, a joyful mind. A joyful mind doesn't mean that, oh, I'm so happy. It means that it means that our mind is finally in sync with the Dharma. We finally understand why illness has merit. If you remember, after studying turning suffering and happiness onto the path of enlightenment, many practitioners told me that they feel very happy, very joyful. And they know what to do when happiness and suffering happens in their life. And those basic instructions cannot be received in mundane schools. Therefore, we should be joyful at this time after receiving this basic instruction. So next time when you get ill, you can tell others, "Oh, I have a good news. I got cancer." And then you can tell others, "I have a good news. I have some good news. My doctor told me that I only have a few months to live." And then as Sangha member, you should say that, "Oh, I rejoice. I wish I can practice the same way as you do." Of course, this is for the good practitioners. But we can practice even in the minor illness as well, because such minor illness can help us to accumulate great merits and purify great obstacles. So we should stop here today.
这个咱们别进，先到时再看。为苏能得以当家的巴涅多内尼贝扎那巴谢将杰个南切软朗这巴耶这本从能着